Welcome once again. This is the video 3 of the chapter Money and Banking. I am sure all of you would be consolidating your understanding through your class task and evening tasks, and now all of you would have been firmly positioned in this chapter. Okay, now we ended the previous video by understanding what is money supply and what are the components of M1 money supply. So in this video session, we will try to focus on understanding who are the suppliers of money in the system, and then we will proceed with discussing the concept of money creation by commercial banks. Okay, now as you are seeing on your screen, who supplies money? This is a very important question in your minds. Who supplies money in a system? Now, the highlighted ones in red, there are three main suppliers of money in the system. The first one, the first supplier is the central bank of the country, which is RBI. Okay, RBI is the main supplier of money in the system because RBI, it issues currency. It issues currency of various denominations into the system. RBI follows something called minimum reserve system. Based on that, it has to have 200 crores in the form of gold and foreign securities as reserves, of which 115 crore should be in the form of gold. For an economy of India's size, 200 crores is a very measly and very paltry amount, but it is just as a security for the economy. Okay, so central bank of the country, which is RBI, is the principal supplier of money in the economic system. Now next comes the commercial banks. Now all these banks, all the banking system that you see, the State Bank, the Andhra Bank or ICICI Bank, all the commercial banks in the country, they also create money. But they do not issue money like your RBI. Then how do they create money? They create money by way of demand deposits. This is very important. You have to remember that commercial banks, though they don't create, though they don't issue money just like RBI, but they create money in the form of demand deposits. Now the third supplier of money in the system is the government itself. Now, how does government supply money? The Ministry of Finance under the Government of India, it issues 1 rupee notes and coins of all denominations. All coins. It can be 1 rupee, 5 rupees, 10 rupee coins. All coins of all denominations. It is not issued by RBI. This is a sometimes this question is asked, okay, to confuse you. Who issues coins? Then Ministry of Finance under the Government of India, it issues coins of all denominations and 1 rupee notes. 1 rupee notes also it issues. 1 rupee notes and 1 rupee coins are issued by Ministry of Finance, and coins of all other denominations, 5, 10, it is issued by Ministry of Finance. So principally there are three suppliers of money in the economic system. The main supplier is RBI, second one is commercial banks, and third one is Government of India. Now comes the most important question. How do commercial banks create money when they do not have the authority to issue notes or coins? Now we know that RBI issues notes and coins, but whereas commercial banks, we are saying that commercial banks create money, but how do they create money when they do not have the authority to issue notes or coins? Even from the exam point of view, this is the most important question. So next few slides will focus on this question. How do we answer this question? Now in this slide, if you see, commercial banks, CBS stands for commercial banks, they create money in the form of credit. This is very important. They create money in the form of credit to the borrowers. So they do not issue currency, but they create money in the form of credit to the borrowers. Like many of us, we borrow money for various purposes. We might borrow money to buy a house, to buy a car. any businessman would borrow money for his business needs. So various kinds of borrowers for various needs, they borrow from commercial banks. So commercial banks, by lending money to these borrowers, they create money. We will see how it happens in the next slides. But this kind of money creation is also called as credit creation. By creating credit, they create money in the system. Okay. Before we understand how commercial banks create credit in the system, create money in the system, there are few assumptions which are very, very critical to our understanding. What are these assumptions? The first assumption is the entire commercial banking system is one unit and it is termed as banks. So there must be hundreds of banks in the system. For our simplicity of our understanding, we will consider all these banks as one single unit, and this unit we call it as banks. We are not distinguishing between, say, State Bank or ICICI Bank or Oriental Bank. No, we are considering all these banks together as one system, just for the sake of simplicity of our understanding. Now, what is the second assumption? All receipts and payments are routed through banks, which means now there is no cash transaction. If you borrow, it is deposited in the form of one more account in your bank. If you are paying something, it is passed through bank. So entire all kinds of transactions are routed through banking system only. That is our second assumption. All receipts and payments are routed through banks, which means all payments are made through checks and all receipts are deposited in the banks, which means there is no any sort of cash transaction. Every transaction is happening through banking system only. Based on these two assumptions, we will continue with our understanding of how we will continue with our discussion of how commercial banks create credit in the system. There is one important term which you have to understand the process of credit creation by commercial banks, and that term is LRR, which stands for Legal Reserve Ratio. First, we will try to understand what the definition is. LRR is a legally compulsory fraction of total deposits that a bank has to maintain as reserves. It is fixed by RBI, which means RBI gives a guideline saying that LRR is 10%. For example, it is 10%, which means all the banks, suppose say a bank receives 100 rupees as a deposit, it cannot use all the 100 rupees to lend to borrowers. It has to maintain certain reserves. Now, if a bank says 10% is the LRR, it has to maintain 10% of that 100 rupees, which means 10 rupees as reserve. Remaining 90% it can use to lend to borrowers. So that ratio, the ratio of total deposits that a bank has to maintain as reserve is called LRR. This is very, very important to understand the concept of credit creation. Now, why should a bank maintain a reserve? Because as I told you, anytime any depositor can go to a bank to withdraw his money. So bank needs to have certain reserve to give the money back to the depositors. So, and hence they have to maintain this reserves. So that is determined by LRR. Okay. Now, after understanding what is LRR, what is legal reserve ratio, I want you all to focus on this table very critically to understand how credit is created, money is created in the system in the form of demand deposits by commercial banks. Now, if you look at this table, you are finding four columns. First column is rounds, primary deposits, cash reserves, and credit creation or derivative deposits. We will try to understand each round. Okay. Now look at the first row here. Okay. Person A. Person A. Now person A goes to a bank and he deposits 1000 rupees in a bank. Okay. That is called a primary deposit. Okay. Now when this is deposited, now Reserve Bank would have told that LRR should be 20%, which means the bank has to maintain 20% of this 1000 rupees as reserve. So 20% of 1000 rupees is 200 rupees. So bank will have to maintain 200 rupees as reserve, and remaining 800 rupees it can use to extend credit to the borrowers. It can use this 800 rupees to lend to the borrowers. Okay, this is the first round. Now, for example, person B goes to the bank to borrow. Now, when he borrows 800 rupees, it will not be given to him in the form of cash. Now, one more account is created in his name, and this 800 rupees is transferred in his account as a deposit. So, this 800 rupees comes and sits in his account as one more deposit. So, in the second round, it is a deposit in the name of person B. Okay. Now, from this 800 rupees, 20% is maintained as reserve, which is 160 rupees. Remaining 640 can be given to borrowers. Now, another person goes to the bank. He borrows 600 rupees and 640 rupees. Okay, and in his name, one more account is created, and that forms as a deposit. Okay, again from 640 rupees, 128 is maintained as reserve because 20% of 640 is 128, and then 512 can be lent to borrowers. Now this process continues. It will continue till this initial deposit of 1000 rupees, it becomes 5000 rupees. We will discuss why it has become 5000. Now, from initial primary deposit of 1000 rupees, the total deposits have increased to 5000 rupees. And then out of this 5000, reserves are 1000 rupees, and 4000 is extended as credit to the borrowers. So this 5 times this deposit has increased. So this concept is called deposit multiplier. How did it increase to 5000? Because the LRR is given as 20%. Now this LRR can change. It can change to 10%. It can change to 12% depending upon what RBI stipulates. If it is 10%, all these values will change. Instead of 200, it becomes 100. Then banks have, here it will become 900, which means banks have more money to lend to borrowers. Okay. So now let us come to this concept of multiplier. Okay. So in the previous table, we discussed how from primary deposit of 1000 rupees, the deposits increased to 5000 rupees. How did it happen? It happened because of this concept called multiplier. So it is dependent upon LRR. Here LRR is given as 20%. So 1 by 20%, which is 1 by 0.2. So 5 times the deposits multiplied from 1000 to 5000 rupees. For example, if multiplier is 10%, what happens? Sorry, LRR is 10%. What happens? Multiplier will become 10. So it will double. So initial deposit of 1000 rupees will become 10,000 rupees. So there is a reciprocal inverse relationship between LRR and multiplier. The more the LRR, the lesser will be the deposit multiplier. The lesser number of times deposit multiplies. So this is a formula which you have to remember. Total deposits equal to initial deposit into money multiplier. So if initial deposit is 1000 rupees and money multiplier is 5, it becomes 5000 rupees. If initial deposit is 1000 rupees, money multiplier is 10, total deposit will become 10,000 rupees. How do you get money multiplier? Money multiplier is equal to 1 by LRR. LRR is given by RBI. It keeps changing depending upon the prevailing economic conditions. Okay. So what is the relationship between money multiplier and LRR? There is a inverse relationship, or LRR is a reciprocal of multiplier and vice versa. So if you look at the definition of money multiplier here, money multiplier measures the amount of money that the banks are able to create in the form of deposits with every unit of money it keeps as reserves. Okay. So I know that this concept might sound little tricky for you. I recommend you please go through this once again in your book, from your book, any resource book. In the Google Meet session, we will discuss further and I can clarify all your doubts about it. So it's now time to revisit again. In your journals, please write a brief note on the suppliers of money in India and also read the topic credit creation by commercial banks once again from the resource book, since it is a tricky topic to understand, but this is the most important concept often asked in your exams. Write the definition of money multiplier and LRR in your journal. Okay, so we'll meet you again in in Google Meet with further clarification about this concept. Thank you.